The Atari 2600, one of the classic retro game systems of all time. It had many classic games like Pitfall, Defender, Space Invaders, and E.T. Just kidding, that game was a piece of shit. During 1983, Atari was having a very difficult year, from new game systems for Atari to compete with, to fighting with third-party developers like Activision, Coleco, and Mattel, just to name a few. But then there were companies that made games for adults, like Mystic, which then became PlayAround. But there was one game company that made two games for Atari that were based off of two classic horror movies. Wizard Video was a movie distribution company that put out horror movies on VHS and was known for their gruesome cover art. They wanted to get into the video game market and decided to make their own video games, and what became of that was Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Halloween on Atari. Texas Chainsaw Massacre was developed by Ed Salvo from the game company Apollo and released on March 14, 1983, making it the first horror movie-based video game. You play as Leatherface, the chainsaw-wielding killer, and you go around and kill hippie girls. Yeah, hippie girls. You also have to dodge cow skulls, wheelchairs, fences, and hay. If you touch any of these objects, it paralyzes you and you cannot move for a few seconds. Unless you use the chainsaw on the object, which I find works for the most part. If you kill one of the girls, you get 1,000 points. By killing 5 girls, you get 5,000 points and a refill of gas for your chainsaw. Once you run out of gas, you get paralyzed again, the screen goes black, and a girl comes up and kicks you in the ass. Now that's gotta be the best game over screen I've ever seen. GTA's game over screen ain't got shit on the Texas Chainsaw game over screen. Now believe it or not, there was an alternate version of this game that was never released and lost for over 30 years. In this version, you play as Leatherface chasing a victim in a maze. You can drop blocks to trap the victim, but chances are, the victim will shoot you before you could trap them up. Not surprised this wasn't released. Halloween was developed by Tim Martin and Robert Barber from Apollo and released in October 1983. You play as Laurie Strode and try to save the kids from being killed by Michael Myers. The more you save the kids, the more points you get, but the faster Michael Myers becomes. There are some odd things that need to be pointed out about this game. One thing is the naming of the characters. The characters in this game are never actually called by the names from the movie. In the instruction manual, they refer to Laurie Strode as the babysitter and Michael Myers as the homicidal maniac. It makes you question if there was a copyright issue, but it couldn't have been because the Halloween theme is played in the game and the game's box art also uses the Halloween theatrical poster. The second thing is the game's label. Both Halloween and Texas Chainsaw games use the theatrical poster of the movie on the box art. The cartridges had a stock label with the Wizard Video Game logo and the title of the game on it. Now later on, when Wizard Video Games was going bankrupt, they were trying to save some money when making these games. They ended up using white stick-on labels and writing the name of the game on it. Yeah. I almost forgot to talk about the best part of the game. When Michael Myers kills you, you get decapitated, the neck stump starts squirting blood, and you run around like a chicken with its head cut off. When the kid gets killed, they fall and start squirting blood out of their head. There's actually more blood in this game than there was in the actual movie, and that's just bizarre to think. Now there was supposed to be another game released by Wizard Video Games in Christmas of 1982. The game was called Flesh Gordon. This game was not based off of a horror movie, but an adult movie that parodied Flash Gordon. The programmer of the game gave Wizard Video a preview of the game. He claimed that he had more work to do with it, but Wizard Video just said, fuck it, let's go the way it is, and published an ad of it alongside Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I would go into detail of the game, but a risk factor is this video getting flagged. In the video description, there is a link to a discussion about this game on AtariAge.com.